League 13 China Division. Here we've got the group stages, we've got playoff stage 1, and we have CDEC Youth versus Team FanTuan. We've already seen game 1 wrap up here with ZSMJ carrying hard on that gyrocopter with massive GPM and just overall just a really solid momentum. They were able to take objectives while taking key fights, and they were able to run down CDEC Youth, who didn't have the best game I've seen from them, honestly. So, looking forward to seeing Game 2 maybe change things up, and we'll see how it plays out. Once again, I am Blaze, here casting on behalf of Beyond the Summit. Happy to have you here. Let's look at the draft. So, starting things off, ZSMJ's squad, captained by DDR, Team FanTuan, are going to be taking second pick. So they've got Doom and Slardar as their primary bans, leaving Shadowfiend in the pool for CDEC Youth. So while this was a pretty critical aspect of Inflame's play previously, they feel like they can do it a little bit better. Keep the stack momentum rolling and just cover it. I mean, one thing I gotta say, if CDEC Youth did one thing right, it's covering that Shadowfiend in terms of comeback. He did have to skill Shadow Raises level 1 for the fight, which he didn't want to, but he still won his lane considerably thanks to the assistance of the Bane. So I think that if they collaborate in much the same way and get that zoning on early on, then yeah, I think the CDEC Youth should at least be able to guarantee one lane successfully. That being said, FanTuan, they probably know the weaknesses of Shadowfiend more than anybody. They're going to pick up the Winter Wyvern, maybe look for an early roam into the Radiant Jungle, steal some stacks, ward some camps, just get active, get involved. CDEC Youth actually banned out the Bounty Hunter in the Tusk here, so they really didn't seem to want to have to deal with the track gold again, as well as just in general the ability to move in and out of the fights with that snowball. Darkseer's going to be a follow-up with Winter Wyvern, like this pick quite a bit, but I'm surprised to see the Dazzle come out so early here for CDEC Youth. They were probably worried to be banned, because once you have a Wyvern on your side, of course you don't want the Dazzle in the pool anymore. You want to be able to kill the target that you curse, and of course they're both pretty comparable in terms of 5 position supports who focus on zoning and keeping allies alive. But yeah, there's more to it than that. Of course, the Darkseer offlane will not only build the mechanism for his team, but set up some really great vacuum combos, and they can go for AoE emphasis here. Not for the Gyrocopter, maybe not for an Ember Spirit, but definitely some key heroes that can do some good AoE hits. The Winter Wyvern here obviously benefits from that vacuum quite a bit if you can get a big curse off, but I wouldn't say that's their strongest part of their synergy. I think the best part is just how well they run their lanes. Darkseer with the Iron Shell is guaranteed to get some momentum there against like 90% of the safe lane core hero pool. And then the Winter Wyvern with some good usage of that Arctic Burn should also make sure that safe lane's feeling just fine. Interestingly enough, we see the Undying banned out as well as the Gyrocopter. Did make it through to phase 2, so I figure somebody had to ban it out, but I'm not actually feeling like it's all that strong for FanTuan anymore. Maybe for CDEC Youth if they wanted to go for a bit of a death ball pushing type strat and they pick up a stunning safe laner, but in this case, Undying, really, between the Winter Wyvern and the Darkseer, I think they want to focus on 5-man teamfight, and Undying is much more early laning. Either way, though, we've got the Anti-Mage ban out. They didn't want to have to worry about their second support needing hard lockdown. They just want a couple of spells here and there that'll stun opponents, not, like, major disables. So they go ahead, they pick up the Queen of Pain for themselves, which worked out pretty well for Paparazzi in Game 1. In fact, he was the MVP of multiple teamfights as a result of the Quap pick, and it's going to be even stronger with the Darkseer. That being said, Night Stalker is going to be a great pickup for CDEC Youth. I think this is the perfect response from them, and they probably expected the Queen of Pain a little bit here. Night Stalker's silence really makes Quap's life difficult. Can also really be difficult for a Wyvern or Darkseer to deal with. So overall, Night Stalker a huge pick here, whether in the off lane or, and my personal preference is to put him as a 4-position support. So he's roaming, he's ganking, he's finding momentum, while the Dazzle stays at home, stacks, and of course supports its safe lane. FanTuan, they're going to actually pick up the Earthshaker here for their support alternative. So while the Darkseer will be taking that off lane, Earthshaker, Wyvern, both support heroes that benefit a lot from vacuum and can do a lot in the early laning stage. The Queen of Pain Earthshaker can really frustrate the Shadowfiend and maybe even find kill opportunities with just the jump forward as well as the Fisher. But Clockwork is going to be a bit of a wrench in the works here, I would say, because what you're going to see is that Earthshaker and Wyvern are very unlikely to be able to zone Clockwork out of experience range. If the Earthshaker kind of stays parallel to the Clockwork and threatens to block his path of retreat with the Fissure, Clockwork will of course back off. But as far as actually like poking and harassing him down so they can leave the lane and start ganking, that's unlikely to happen. The Clockwork is going to have enough regen, he's going to be having those power cogs to keep his distance, and he's only really going to feel pressured when the Arctic Burn comes out. So I think Clockwork overall is going to have a lot to bring to the table here. Obviously he can punish Darkseer or Earthshaker if he gets inside the cogs too. But yeah, I think if Team FanTuan go for a high damage output ranged hero, that'll be fine. They could still go for something that's Darkseer synergetic, like a Sven pickup would be fine. But if they want to deal with the Clockwork more appropriately, they'll pick up something with range. Yeah. But anyways, the ban here is going to be the Huskar as well as the Juggernaut. So obviously, FanTuan don't have good single target focus. They have a Darkseer lineup, they have AoE focus, and Huskar thrives in an environment where he can't be focused down. Beyond that, the Juggernaut actually going to be banned out here from CDEC.Y, so they were afraid of that core hero going against Clockwork, even though I feel like in a lot of situations Clockwork's cogs can really frustrate the Juggernaut. If the Clockwork player is very experienced, he can get a lot of mana burn on the Juggernaut, and the time that he has to be worried is just when the Arctic Burn and Spin come together. But that's not going to be happening here. It does get banned out, and FanTuan, I'll have to look for an alternative. 53 seconds on the clock. They want to make sure ZSMJ feels comfortable here, and with the kind of standard fare for safe lane farmers being taken off the map, you gotta find something that's still a little bit greedy. Naga Siren is up ZSMJ's alley, of course. He definitely is known for his fast Radiance rushes, so maybe something like that could be picked up, although it's kind of less seen these days. He actually goes for the Slark. I love this pick. Obviously, you can pounce over into the cogs and just create some real kill potential. Against the Juggernaut, the Clockwork has to be kind of careful when he's approaching with his cogs, but against the Slark, you have to always stay back. If you try to go and mess with him, he's going to pounce you, and that's going to set up the supports to kill him off. So I would say overall the Slark pick is going to put out a lot of pressure here, and there's also not a lot to counter him. Like the Power Cogs, the Requiem are pretty good answers to the Slark. But other than that, they can just shallow grave a target and try to keep their distance. And Wraith King actually going to be the pickup for CDEC.Y, the safe lane hero to be picked up. Obviously, you don't want to pick up a greedy hero when you go for the Shadow Fiend, because otherwise you're going to have two heroes farming against one another. But going for the Wraith King here, really just, like I said, they didn't feel like they had a lot of control. They didn't have a safe lane stunner, so they felt they needed that to kind of get a handle on things. I just don't feel he matches up against Slark in the mid to late game very well, that's all. He's still good, but when Wraith King dies and then comes back, he wants the fight to be in his favor. He slows down his opponents, he's ready to fight with full mana and full HP, but if Slark had just been beaten on him, stealing his essence, Wraith King's going to be at a disadvantage to that Slark who has just so much agility racked up. So, overall, I think if CDEC.Y can make this Wraith King work early, and it'll be great, but otherwise ZSMJ might just get out of control. We're going to see a TP here into mid. Going to see an Observer Ward play. They're scouting out an enemy Observer Ward play, but you could also put a ward on the cliff. Yep, so they go ahead and put it right over here. The tower does not see it unless they enter this range, so that's going to be a nice little play to get mid vision against the Shadow Fiend and just get some pressure on him pretty early, as well as scout out early Night Stalker movements, which is very important for Queen of Pain. If there's a level 2 or level 3 Night Stalker, probably level 3 is more dangerous, but if there's like a level 3 Night Stalker roaming and ganking on her, then you need to have intel. You need to be able to see that coming, so that at least the Earthshaker can get ready to TP. But yeah, other than that, we've got here Clockwork trying to get his ward out, it looks like, but didn't actually have one, so maybe just playing some mind games here. Anyways, as far as bounty runes go, right now FanTuan have secured the top bounty rune, and if Clockwork just goes for a 1v1 on the bottom one, he may lose out on that as well. So right now, FanTuan are in a good position for it. I would say Clockwork's more important to a level 1 fight than the Slark, so they'll just go on Ame hard, and look how much damage he takes from that Arctic Burn. He'll get graved up, Paparazzi will have to blink out here, but Ame is going to be the first blood for sure, and then we're just going to see how the bounty rune settles. Well, Clockwork has got himself the Bounty Rune. Night Stalker picked one up as well, so 2 bounties and a 1-for-1 as they do pick off the Earthshaker. He's not able to escape as easily in that situation. I think the Earthshaker Fisher was just coming off cooldown. So as it stands right now, he's actually going for this. With the Clarity still intact, he has one more Void, a couple more right clicks. The Healing Salve should come through here. No! He doesn't salve while he has the chance, and he actually gets killed off for his second kill. So although the first blood will be against CDEC.Y, losing the Wraith King, who has this pretty awesome helmet, the rest of his teammates do amazingly well. They get a Bounty Rune on top and bottom, as well as cleaning up the Earthshaker for Shadow Fiend and the Darkseer for Night Stalker. Now, Inflame didn't get to skill Necromastery for the free 10 souls there, but still a great pickup for him. And normally you'd think that with the Observer Ward here, you'd be able to kind of plan out your fight a little bit better, but it just seems like the Shallow Grave was the thing that they weren't counting on. Icy getting that off and keeping the Wraith King alive so long really made things difficult in terms of targeting focus. Sentry on Sentry action, no obs coming into play. But missing a kill. Okay, I'll focus a little bit more. Less opening the match and more making sure there's no action being missed. I like to kind of give every player their chance to shine, everybody a little background and information about their hero, their role, and of course the player themselves, but it looks like this game is going to be a lot faster paced than the previous one, and we're going to be seeing kills all over very early on. As far as that pickup there, it was just the Earthshaker coming in, helping out on mid, the Queen of Pain getting that Shadow Strike and blink forward here. A very punishing build, this 2-1-0, and with an Earthshaker helping out, the Queen of Pain will get a lot of damage early on the Shadow Fiend. So if he doesn't have a quick way to heal up, he's going to be in some trouble. But yeah, beyond that, Winter Wyvern going to be poking and prodding at this Clockwork, who only has 3 Tengas, but with the Earthshaker obviously going to be sitting mid, I think that June will still get some decent experience here. The SMJ's pounce threat or not, June with his boots advantage of the Slark should be able to keep his distance and do his thing. Demon's going to be mostly waiting till nighttime. He's actually even holding skill points here, but down bottom, actually the pounce does go through the cogs, so as much as I said he might not have to worry about it, there's going to be a Splinter Blast as well as the Arctic Burn setting it up, and they do find that combo. You should not be able to find an unassisted pounce on a Clockwork who has a boots advantage over you, but what I think Clockwork did there was he cogged just to try to mana burn ZSMJ. Not only did he dodge that mana burn, but then he pounces right into the cogs and finds himself a nice little kill. So with the Wyvern nearby and with June making himself essentially a stationary target for the Slark, he gets a kill that definitely shouldn't have happened. But like I said, Clockwork versus Slark, you don't really want to go for those cog plays very often. It'll be the death of you for sure. Top lane though, we're going to see Darkseer taking a little bit of hits. There's not much kill potential here though. The Dazzle doesn't have any control. All they have is 1 Wraithfire Blast per exchange. DD Rune expiring on the Night Stalker. Still trying to stay involved, but it's going to be 4 minutes before he really gets to do much of anything here. In the meantime, the Winter Wyvern focusing on his stacking, his pulling, tangoing through to the Satyrs here. Should be no trouble at all. Clockwork making his move though, trying to leech some good experience. And even throwing some damage here towards mid, but mostly trying to get understanding of the Earthshaker's positioning. Wraith King on the... Dang it, okay. Well, kill shouldn't happen. It is going to be the death of the Darkseer getting a little bit too aggressive here. Only level 2. And yeah, just gets killed off by the Wraithfire Blast, the Poison Touch, and a kill before the Surge can take effect. Okay, my eyes are glued to the minimap here. Rotating monitor. Screw it. We are not missing any more kills this game. Alright. June pulling some creeps here. And otherwise just keeping tabs on things. I see. He's done a really good job of zoning out the Darkseer though. The fact that Angela is only level 2, he's just going to have to focus on even taking the stacks away from the mid. He just needs to get himself online. So a level 1 Ion Shell is a good way to start with that. 4-minute rune spawn here might be an opportunity to converge. Just pouncing in. They know if they get the rune, they'll get this kill. And yeah, June gets caught inside his own cogs with 2 heroes. Arctic Burn and right clicks coming through, and that should be his death. The Splinter Blast and Flame. No, don't go and help. That's actually going to be him going down if they could just combo it. But they don't get the vision in time to do the damage. It's good that Inflame chased him off, but if he triggers the Splinter Blast onto his ally, that just ensures the kill. But as it is, the Clockwork limps away with 70 HP. He'll have Tranquil Boots coming back to the lane, and that should help out. In July here, clearing out that big hard stack is going to put him at level 4, and actually he might run into Night Stalker here. Night Stalker has the vision, but does he have the kill potential? He's waiting till In July gets a little slower. The Wolves are critting him up, and yeah, that's an easy Void. Walk in, kill the Rocket Flare, killing him and the Wolves off all at once. Valuable play there, and really good planning coming from the Clockwork. Not Rocket was all the way from Fountain, so a really good pickup there. And Darkseer really just having not the best time here. Even with his opportunity to farm some stacks in the jungle here, he's just middle of the road in terms of experience per minute. June, on the other hand, 1-1. Alright, top lane, it looks like Pretty House in some trouble. Does do a nice little Fisher block, but now he's being body blocked by demons who could have just stood there all day long. But obviously no reinforcements coming, and the creep waves under the tower are falling. Net worth and experience pretty even here, 5.5 minutes through as the back and forth continues to happen. It is a kill score 3-4. So, Wraith King will pick up the treads, obviously the only one with tier 2 boots other than the Clockwork. In fact, Inflame doesn't even have boots right now. Gonna be picking those up very shortly though as he clears out a pretty basic stack. He's only gotten 24 CS total, which of course does give him near maxed out Necromastery, but all in all, the Queen of Pain is definitely winning this lane. She's 30-11, he's 24-4, and that's with his tapping into the jungle. But nighttime's not over yet. Maybe CDEC.Y can make one more play on Paparazzi that will feed a lot of that experience away. He's actually going for a great ward here, just popping it right here. He's going to watch out the stacks, keep an eye on when they can move in. Bottom rune, some skirmishing going on. It's going to be the bounty picked up by demons. In fact, he's going to look to run down Wyvern. He's got an Arctic Burn. No, he gets silenced, and ZSMJ is going to be the one to zone out. Pounce does not connect, and he'll be knocked back by the cogs. Fisher, if he got to this position, it would have been great, but doesn't get there in time. So it's just going to be a lot of damage going against FanTuan. Darkseer here, just looking for his Tranquils. Looks like he has plenty of gold for it. Could go for the Mechanism instead if he actually starts getting rich, but he's had a really rough start, so maybe baby steps are important. You usually see the Soul Ring Arcane Boots. Oh, Courier. Goodbye, Courier. We hardly knew ye.
Dire's courier has been
But yeah, normally you see the Soul Ring Arcane's mechanism, but sometimes you gotta get out of a rut. So if Darkseer was having difficulty recovering, you might see the Tranquils, but in this case I think he's gotten enough, just barely enough, that he can feel okay. Oh, I see we'll go for a little bit of a heal bomb, but no, it's not going to be anywhere near enough damage. So, at this point I think, with the 1,000 gold, he'll go for the Mechanism Arcanes for sure. But if he was still struggling at this stage in the game, he'd have to consider an alternative, because that's a rich man's build, and Darkseer was, at one point, one of the poorest on the map. Paparazzi in some trouble here, just takes a double raise while they dive top, they get their kill. So, right here, there's so many opportunities for the Night Stalker to close in and find those kill opportunities. They've got this Observer Ward, which sees any time he just crosses past that line, and yeah, it's just going to be very difficult for him to survive, no matter who is up here to save him. The Darkseer just has to be on his toes constantly, and ready to run at a moment's notice. The tier 1 tower going to be going down here. Night Stalker picks up the last hit here, while mid lane, Inflame, can maybe eat a Sonic Wave, which could be a kill, but he doesn't want to risk it not knowing the Shadow Fiend's HP, and that would have been maybe just short of a kill. It's 290. Yeah, no, he would have missed it just barely, since the stick charges would have been used. So in the end, it's just Shadow Fiend sent home once again, while ZSMJ free farms bottom and finds himself actually only third in net worth. Maybe the tower could change things a little bit, but for right now, the only tier 1 taken down is in the hands of the Dire. And Clockwork at least has some basic fighting items here. Tranquils, Urn of Shadows. I wouldn't say it's a Blade Mail game, really. It's good against the Queen of Pain, if you can get the Blade Mail out. But otherwise, not so much. And actually going to see the Darkseer. He can just eat the Wraithfire Blast if he goes for the Surge. Instead, tries to go for the wall, but gets silenced out just for the 2 seconds. It's going to be enough that they will drop him low. The Wraithfire Blast in range to try to finish him, but he cancels it and tries to run. Too little, too late. He's going to be reincarnating now, and they are going to look to bring him down a second time. Splinter Blast won't connect, and he's a little bit too tanky to go in much deeper. Slark is all by himself bottom, but do they have any real kill potential? Even with a heal bomb, this guy's got Shadow Dance and should be fine. Inflame now, and building himself up.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And, probably wants the Mechanism build. He is up against a Queen of Pain after all, so a lot of burst damage coming out in an AoE. And I don't think the Clockwork's going to be able to build one. So mech for the SF seems natural. And, I mean, the alternative is like S and Y, which just doesn't do enough. Meg being converged upon. They know this reincarnates down. They want to take advantage of it. And they're actually would be better off waiting for the Courier to come and snipe that. But right now they're going to break their smoke. They're going to chain stun Ame, and he's certainly going to be going down with a TP-in of the Dazzle that has to be cancelled. And even here, Clockwork cancelling his TP as well. DD Rune for the SF. At least he can put a lot of damage into mid while they're pushing the tier 1 top. So he should definitely pop that as soon as he gets to the tower itself. So Midas up for Night Stalker as well. The Wraith King, they're looking to really extend their potential into later stages of the game. Night Stalkers, Midas is pretty common. Sometimes you'll see Wraith King go for Radiance instead. I don't think you go for both Radiance and Midas, so it looks like it's just going to be the one. Trying to go for the tower. They will be able to last hit this and actually hurt ZSMJ quite a bit as well. But the Crippling Fear doesn't prevent the pounce in time. And now they almost look to re-engage. If they only had a little bit more mana for that Splinter Blast, they could have brought everybody below half HP. Instead, we're actually going to see them in full retreat. And overall, a win for CDEC.Y. A much needed one at that.
Thanks.
So overall, the Midas advantage actually gives me a lot of confidence for CDEC's mid-game. They don't want to let the Slark farm up to like 10k net worth, but if they can start pushing heavily before he reaches that threshold, he should be manageable with the Midas momentum.
Dire's middle tower
And yeah,
is under
Inflame's
attack.
Mechanism should be coming out pretty shortly. Already, the Darkseer, of course, has finished his. Still haven't seen this wall dropped yet, though. This Night Stalker's silence is really making things difficult for Angelai.
Radiant's
CSMJ
bottom
farming in a
tower
very
is
aggressive
under
position,
attack.
but as long as there's no hook shot to pin him down, he should feel pretty confident here. I really like this Observer Ward coming out from the Dire. It's only giving them some intel, but just the fact that Dazzle was able to kind of sneak into the Radiant side and put that up without them seeing him just allows them to really keep tabs on anything going on bottom lane. And for example, they know that nobody's farming bottom, so they might suspect the smoke, but it was covered by a sentry. They know that they can make the sneak attack happen, but their smoke broke already on Ame. They'll go for a couple spells here. He doesn't have Reincarnate, but he will have a Shallow Grave to heal him back, or keep him alive a little bit longer. Goes for the TP home. Nothing to stop it! And he will be surviving in the well. But we're going to see Pretty Hall mech'd up, as well as Cold Embrace, and June is now the one that's in some real trouble here. Gets hit by the Fisher, although there is the Requiem onto the Slark. It's going to be June to go down first, Inflame to go down next. They drop the wall to make sure of it. So yeah, they go for the SF goes for the Requiem hard onto the Slark, but he moves in the Shadow Dance just barely far enough away that it doesn't do its full damage, and then he goes right back in on his target. And just delivering some massive damage. Very well done by ZSMJ, getting a huge kill in that fight. Like, obviously, picking up the Wraith King would have been nice. Killing off the Clockwork's pretty solid, but getting the SF there, it's just dominating the map now for them. They won't have ultis though, other than the Echo Slam, and that's a hard one to really manage, especially at such low HP. So they're gonna fall back. The one thing they won't get is really much tower pressure, as they're losing in terms of towers 2-1. But look at the net worth. In spite of their 1 tower deficit, in spite of their 2 Midas deficit, we still see FanTuan leading because they're topping CS, getting more valuable creep kills, and of course, killing the right targets. It's not just the number of kills, it's who you're actually bringing down. The Shadow Fiend dying twice, Wraith King twice, and Clockwork twice. That's right, not a single support kill for FanTuan, but they're taking the big money down. Actually, down bottom, it should be DDR death guaranteed. He doesn't even have a TP scroll, so yeah, there's 0% chance of getting out of this. But, you know, he lives a little bit longer. And in July, wow, they want to actually fight this here. Could have been dangerous, but the fact that the Wyvern took so many raises and other spells to bring down, maybe they actually are fine down here. Earthshaker. Well, what level is the Vacuum? It's only level 1 Vacuum, so Pretty Hot really just needs the Blink to be relevant. And, of course, that allows the Wyvern to just play 5 position and feel confident just buying wards and wards and wards. And, of course, the TP scroll he was lacking. Shadow Fiend still needs that mech so bad. Where is it? Where is that mechanism? We're seeing all of it complete. Just need to get the courier out here. That is a huge aspect of the next stage of the game for CDEC. If they can start pushing with the mechanism, and if they can survive through fights against this Queen of Pain, who is, for now, level 9, but we saw what happened last game, just the moment that Paparazzi hit level 11. Shadowblade for the Slark. Great mobility tool, great for scouting, whether or not the enemy has detection, as well as just the second they see you, he knows because of the Shadow Dance, and that will enable him to really go for the clear-cut kills and know when he's being baited in. It's also going to tax the supports further. The Dazzle, the Night Stalker, most of the Dazzle is going to just have to spam out observers and sentries to make sure their heroes are safe. Moving in right now, the Dire definitely saw this rotation. They might try to make the jump. June, can he get the hook shot out? He sees him now, but there's a creep in his way. And actually CSMJ running forward here. Shadowblade expiring, but they seem to want to go for the vac wall here. Pretty Hot looking to cut off retreat with the Fisher, and even the Echo Slam committed to bring down June. CSMJ popping a very early Shadow Dance, almost a useless Shadow Dance here. And although they will get the Yules to kill off the Clockwork, they are not winning this fight just yet. And in fact, June with the mechanism is just jumping away. Now there's no Requiem, there's no hookshot though, and ZSMJ pounces onto Demon. Where's the pounce? I don't know. That was awkward. Once they committed the 2 ultimates, I thought that maybe they'd go on the hunt, but of course the Wyvern was very low HP here under tower, and it seems like they just didn't want to commit to it. So while they go for the fight, when I don't think they're stronger, they force out some ultimates that make them stronger, then they're going to go and back off. By the way, ZSMJ should know of a ward in this general area because he did not have Shadow Dance there.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Slark moving in again. There is a sentry ward. They're going to ping it and just try to back off to its safety. And then Dazzle will come in, weave them all, and they'll look for the big engagement with Wraith King on the front line. Wraith King, he's got a Blade Mail, he's got Reincarnate. He doesn't really want to use Reincarnate when it's only level 1, but if it'll win them a fight, hell yeah, he's going to go in on the front line. So at this point, they can just kind of bait it out. They waited out the Shadowblade, now they can go in. They smoked up 4, and they're looking for the flank here. No weaves just yet, though, so we're going to see the hookshot be the key deciding factor. Don't block the Clockwork! Night Stalker trying to jump in, and actually they do find the hook on the Wyvern, but he's got that curse ready to roll, and he puts it on his Shadow Fiend, the perfect target to nuke down, but Dazzle's going to keep him alive for a little bit. Can't get the grave off, there's too much burst. June will fall next. The supports will run, and Ame gets the TP off. Will they be able to run one more down? Icy looks pretty much dead to rights. The grave is shallow, but it'll be a bittersweet survival for him. Now the tier 1's certainly going down. Could they actually push tier 2 as well? Get some good wards up behind the Dire's back line, and of course just establish map dominance. Looks like they're not going to force the issue. They're just going to go for the ward play, which could be around the secret shop up here, yeah.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Not too shabby, getting just the vision they want. Even this lane ward is actually quite interesting and potentially very effective. If you get like an opportunity to jump here, you get not only the kill, but then they're going to assume that you had a observer up on this cliff and waste something there. So overall, this is just providing intel that most likely will stick until a gem is picked up, if that is within the next 7 minutes. Midas into Blade Mail. I feel like this build only works if you're extremely aggressive or if your opponents are very foolish. If they're going to attack into a spiky 2-life Wraith King, then yeah, you're going to be effective at dealing damage back at them. But I feel like most of the time, with this kind of a build, they're just going to ignore you. You attack pretty quickly, you can crit pretty hard, but for the most part they can kite around you and focus on actual targets. And if Wraith King gets some face time with a single hero, then that's just going to be a cold embrace. So all in all, not really feeling the Wraith King value just yet. They can definitely go for an earlier Roshan, but we need more from Wraith King. I will say that towards the mid to late game, picking up an Aghanim Scepter on Wraith King is actually not too bad. Most of these heroes not that much stronger in the extended fights, like getting 5, or is it like 7 seconds of life? I forget now. But I've seen it a couple times in practice, and it still feels pretty strong. But I think it's like a 7-second extension to your life in its own right. CDEC.Y, is that a Manta now? Can Manta dodge the Wraithfire Blast? He can also break the Crippling Fear, so I would say it's a pretty solid choice. We're actually going to see, however, Inflame walk in the wrong part of town, and he's going to be going down very quickly. They just got this ward down, the Dazzle just put it up, but he gets caught out nevertheless, making me assume that there was a smoke involved. Of that, or a very quick jump from heroes that don't have blinks, so no, I think it's a smoke. Speaking of blinks, we got one of the Darkseer, so while you can't blink Echo, you can blink Vacuum trying to set up the Echo, and that could of course be quite effective. Blade Mail progression for Clockwork. He just went for the Urn first to build up his HP pool, because otherwise there's a very low likelihood that he'll survive throughout the fight. This Observer Ward paying off, finding the Night Stalker here, and cut off by his own cogs. Yeah, they're going to lose him quickly. The Sonic Wave will be going out with no Axe cooldown, but if they get the tier 2 bottom as a result, then it's worth it. And of course the Creep Wave is in the perfect position for this. So, nice and easy, building a ton of momentum against a team lineup that just really doesn't have that much going late game. So while they have the Midases, letting them move towards Aghanim Scepter, and the Blink Dagger for the Wraith King, I feel like they need to find a solution to the fighting issues right now. They actually can't fight against a lineup that's greedier than them, and it just comes down to really the really strong support line for FanTuan. While Slark is a very single target hero for the most part, the support lineup is so AoE-centric that CDEC.Y have to file in. They can't go all in at once, or they'll just be destroyed by the AoE abilities of FanTuan, and therefore Slark kind of just gets to pick off people by themselves. He gets to isolate targets and just do his thing. Progression here is going to be Sanjin Yasha for now. That's not too bad either. Maybe he disassembles into like Silver Edge Manta, but more likely he just keeps SMY and goes for the Scotty or the... Butterfly's a little bit early, but probably the Scotty after the SMY. Beyond that,
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Not really seeing too much. Glimmer, the Guardian Grace is going to come out for the Darkseer. Wyvern looking for just a medallion into Solar Crest. And that seems about it. Oh, Inflame might just get picked off here. Does CDEC.Y get seen? He's just actually going to walk it in here and doesn't have a way to cancel the TP. So it just scares off Inflame immediately. And that works for him. Oh, also... Well, we're going to see the jump here, but Ame should be fine. This guy is so tanky. So yeah, also... Don't want to miss anything, but yeah, they took a long time to de-ward this. 2 sentries committed just to try to get this de-ward, but because of its position, it actually takes them a long time. CDEC.Y won't be able to cancel that. Burst as he may try. And it might be a smoke play now that they've got this de-ward out. The one thing I'm concerned about this smoke play is Slark isn't a kill, even though they see him up top pushing. And the Earthshaker, of course, just got his blink. So not going for kills very wisely, instead going for Roshan, and this is a feasible play. They pop the Darkness, which keeps FanTuan a little bit worried, but
Dire's top tower
may very
is
well
under attack.
elude them. They go in for Roshan. They've got the Vampiric Aura, Lifesteal. They've got the Presence of the Dark Lord Aura, but going right in is FanTuan. They could get the perfect combo here. Blink, Vacuum, Wall, Echo, Sonic Wave, and the Winter's Curse to top it all off. Massive damage coming through. Inflame will be going down in just a moment here. They've taken 2. They've taken their 4th now. And that is going to be the Roshan Jack as well. That is a game-winning opportunity for them. CDEC.Y, they had to go for a bit of a gambit, and I understand exactly why they went for the play they did. They needed to force a Roche, even in a position where they could not fight. But my oh my, did it backfire. Perfect map sense from FanTuan. Knowing the darkness indicated that they were trying to obscure something much more important, and they agreed them like a book, taking them down, no problem at all. Now, Ame does have a TP scroll, but this is going to be the Wraith King, the Earthshaker hanging out nearby. The Cold Embrace really thwarting Ame, and they're just going to pop the first life of the Wraith King. But following it up, we're going to see the pounce forward. The Shadow Dance is unavailable. He might have to commit the Aegis here, and he's going to do so. He's dropping very, very low. They'll finish off the Aegis if they just get one more nuke against him. The Urn of Shadows even is nearly enough, but he'll Shadow Blade, he'll hide in the trees, and he will get his HP back, going back in on the back line while massive Sonic Wave comes out on the flank. He goes onto Icy, who Shallow Graves. He's still stealing Essence, though, and now being knocked back by the Cog. ZSMJ does it again. He still has the Shadow Dance. So if he doesn't die to the Requiem, he'll be fine, and there we go, him going under tower. Oh, in spite of everything, but it looks like the one buyback will be enough to force him away. Man, ZSMJ is so aggressive in that fight. They get the buyback out of the Wraith King, and they just get more and more farm on the side of FanTuan. Ends up just being a 3 for 2, but adding in the Reincarnate cooldown, that's another kill. Slark doing 4,000 damage in that fight over the course of an extended duration. Barely surviving with his first life, but playing recklessly because he always has that life insurance. Do they see the courier? They certainly did. Looks like GSMJ will pick that one up too. The movement speed is just enough to close in, but no, he wants Icy instead, and the Grave is still on cooldown.
You never felt more shit.
Not that he had much of a chance to get it off. Double Iron Shell play against Demons. The support Night Stalker is not farming his axe here, but we do have Clockwork's Hook in range. It's just about who he can actually target here. In July, gonna support ZSMJ, who has so much essence stolen. 33, that's 99 bonus agility here, and he's gonna like 3-shot June. He does so much damage. But June will get the hook away. Ame gets the blink out, and Paparazzi has the Sonic Wave June down. One hit from death. Paparazzi's gonna go for the blink Yule's kill. Nope, just the scream to finish him off. Tier 2 will fall top, and I think that will halt some aggression. They don't need to force this with so low mana, but the Guardian Greaves gives them the incentive to keep going and going and going, and it really just seems like they're never gonna stop. The fort will be popped early. The Earthshaker is now on the back line with Blink Echo. And another set of Arcane Boots puts ZSMJ up to 400 mana. Along with the Aegis, they really aren't going to stop. No Scotty required. They'll just run CDEC.Y over, starting with a vacuum play onto Ame. The Shallow Grave should come out on somebody, but it's not the kill target as Icy goes down quick. ZSMJ still keeping some essence and looking to use it here onto June. The easiest target as he's completely isolated, doesn't get the pounce, but the hook shot again eludes them. Now TP forward here from Ame, trying to get involved. He's got a second life, and he's going to try to use it. But ZSMJ on the back line just going to pop his Shadow Dance and kill off Demons. No, the Raise brings him down. Inflame pops the mech, and now the Aegis is forced. But here's going to be the Blink, the Echo, and all the ultimates combined. This is Captain Planet. This is the desolation of CDEC. We see June going down inside the cogs, trapped in here with the Radiant team, and buybacks or not, it looks like they cannot salvage the situation. ZSMJ dropping very, very low, though, Shadow Blading away and getting all that HP back thanks to his Rank 3 ultimate. Inflame stunned up. One more death should be the GG. It is going to be their kill. Icy 2. It's a 5-man wipe. It's 27-9. A 25,000 golden experience advantage. Wow, that escalated quickly. That really got out of hand. From the moment that Roshan got sniped, FanTuan just had jetpacks strapped to their boots, and they were flying through the rest of this game. No need to stop when you can just keep sustaining through the unlimited HP pool of a Shadow Dancing Slark, and some really good mana pool as well. The double arcane's really paying off there. I thought that FanTuan would at least take about 5 more minutes on this one, but nope, they had some things to get to. They had some errands to run. So yeah, they're going to close it out as quick as can be. A hell of a game, though. That was really fun to watch. I do not fault CDEC.Y at all for going for the Roshan. Going for the smoke play, pop in darkness, going into the pit, that was the only way back in. If you just let Roshan sit by itself, the AoE advantage of FanTuan would allow them to control the pit, let Slark and Queen of Pain solo the Roshan, get the Aegis, and win in much the same fashion. They had to try for that Rosh, but it ended up being just absolutely disastrous as immediately ZSMJ leaves the lane, goes for blood, and holy crap did he find it. 12-0-7 on the Slark with a 578 GPM. Really racking it up here. ZSMJ had 2 amazing games of Dota. And that's going to be wrapping up our first best of 2 for today here for Star Ladder I-League China. We're going to be taking a brief break here, no more than 20 minutes, and we're going to be jumping into the next scheduled match. That'll be Wings versus Insane Buster. Should be some insane drafts, as we see some very interesting picks from both teams, actually. So, should be a lot of fun. Hopefully you'll join me for that as well. Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in here. I'm Blaze. If you enjoyed the commentary, other than a few missed kills, unfortunately, please feel free to look me up at BlazeCasting. If you